Did you guys know that Starbucks is actually making a huge push to go as green as they can? One of the things that's on their list by, I think, 2030 is that they want to actually go dairy free. Could you imagine Starbucks with no cream and no whipped cream in any of their drinks? They're going to start investing in alternatives, things like coconut milk, almond milk, oat milk. And some of these are already available there. You can get non-dairy in your drinks already at Starbucks. But they want to completely replace it. Now, right now, all of these alternatives are more expensive than milk. Milk is the cheapest, but they think because of their big corporate buying power, they can actually pass it on without raising prices much. They're also looking at things like their containers that they use and such, everything recyclable, everything reusable, getting away from all the trash that a food chain, or in this case, a drink chain, produces. You guys are going to see this from every corporation in the coming decades here. Every corporation is going to be pushing out their plan to make them more environmentally sustainable. So the last thing we talked about with problems was meat production. So today we want to look at some solutions or answers to raising livestock and how that can be more sustainable. The things we can do if we are raising cattle is we need to get away from feedlots. What we need are places to actually let the cattle graze. And to avoid things like tragedy of the commons, we have a practice known as rotational grazing. So wherever your pasture is, you section it off into chunks. And it's exactly what it sounds like. You rotate them. You let the cattle graze for a period of time, and once it starts to get depleted, you move them to the next one. And you can see these are called paddocks, right here, paddocks. The ones that are not being grazed are able to rest for a month, maybe longer. And this allows the plant life to come back, for the grass to grow thick again, deeper roots. And that helps with nutrients and preventing desertification. You have less dependence on raising grains. Remember, a huge chunk of our land use, our agriculture, goes to feed livestock so that we can eat them. So if we're managing pastures correctly, we don't need those grains to feed our cattle. The cattle are going to be healthier eating their natural diet. So that means less antibiotics that we have to pump into them, less hormones, and there's less chance of them to spread diseases because they have a little bit of space to live their lives. So there are huge advantages here to rotational grazing as opposed to a feedlot. And that does require a bit of land, and it's more expensive. The real solution, though, is, once again, College Board wants you to know you should not eat meat. You should be a vegetarian. So here you can see some of the benefits: less consumption of meat. Look at the gases that are removed: carbon dioxide, greenhouse gas; methane, CH4, greenhouse gas; nitrous oxide, it causes smog, bad stuff. Our water's going to be cleaner because there will be less manure waste, less eutrophication, less antibiotics and growth hormones in your food. Topsoil will be healthier. Look at the eco footprint of just 1 kilogram of beef: land, water, nutrients. So there are some easy things we can do to make our cities more sustainable as well. One of the big problems, remember, is runoff. All the pollution and trash ends up in our sewers. How can we get that water into the ground, into the aquifers, instead of running off into our sewers and into our rivers? There's actually an invention. There's several designs out there. I'm going to show you one in just a second, but it's called permeable pavement. That means water can soak into the ground that we drive and walk and work on. Permeable pavement. Future engineers, you're going to improve on these ideas and make them more sustainable. Plant more trees, urban trees. We're pretty spoiled in Indianapolis. We're a very sprawled city. We have lots of space. And so we've been able to plant trees and forests in our neighborhoods and between our urban spaces. One thing Indianapolis could do a lot better job of is public transportation. Right now, you shouldn't be running downtown anyway. Stay home. And then, of course, with sprawl, remember the solution is always to build up, not out. We need to expand our multi-use buildings where we have residential and business and recreation all in the same space. Less driving, less space. Here are some of the examples of permeable pavement. So they've got these, it's basically a compact soil underneath, and they've got these grids that they can lay down. So this would be an example of a parking lot or a sidewalk. Now, if you're trying to rollerblade, that would not work very well. That would be pretty bumpy. But you could bike on this material and obviously drive on it. And if you Google permeable pavement, you'll come up with lots of other ideas that are out there. Nobody's perfected anything yet. That's one that's still going to take some work. Here you can see where we plant things that are not traditional grass. We want native grasses. We want, remember the idea of xeriscaping, where it can grow in low amounts of water. So things that grow easily in desert or arid type ecosystems. We saw where we're growing vertical gardens, rooftop gardens. This is University of North Carolina. Universities do a good job. They want to attract students to their campuses. So they try to make their campuses pretty, and that includes planting trees as much as they can throughout their campus. Little tree boxes, growing them right between the buildings. This is pretty groundbreaking. This is a relatively new vertical indoor farm in New Jersey. They want to grow the food right there instead of having to ship it in from Iowa. So they're using LED lights. They can stack these up, right? It looks like an old parking garage, really. So they can stack up multiple levels of these. The crops are being grown in a reusable substrate. That's like the material that their roots take in. And it's a plastic. It's actually a woven fabric made out of recycled plastic bottles. So we're solving that problem of all the plastic that we throw away and ends up in the ocean. They're using a drip irrigation, only irrigate where they need to, and it soaks into the plastic substrate. They don't have to use pesticides, herbicides at all, because it's a closed system. Nothing can get in there. It's sanitary. They don't have to worry about fertilizer because they only put nutrients where they need them. They can monitor all of that based on color and growth size. So if you look really close, these are platforms that move on a big track. So they move really, really, really slow. So throughout the day, the plants all end up in the sunshine for X amount of time. We estimate 30% of our food is wasted. It ends up not being sold. It gets gross during the shipping. There's so much food that we throw away in this country. And there's so many ways we could improve that. Guys, that is first semester APES. You did it. I sincerely mean I am proud of you. I am in awe. You have done something incredible. This is not normal. And you have tuned in every day. You have interacted with me. We even tried to go to school for a little while. You guys are amazing. You really should be proud of yourself. You need to hear that once in a while. The future is strong, knowing what we are producing with your generation. I need you to tune in tomorrow. It will be very short. I have one last assignment for you tomorrow, one last little review quiz. So please tune in. I've got some important final information. I'll tell you a joke, of course. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.